Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. Luke Taylor in the saddle. Unfortunately, Sammy D cannot make it, but we got a great one. We're really excited. This is going to be one of the top teams to look out for winning an NCAA tournament this year. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on all the social media handles for the Full Court Network. So this is the first time we've ever had a great grandson whose brother founded a university. We got Coach Kevin Young, Brigham Young University. Welcome to the Full Court Press, Coach.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. I see you doing your family history research, too. That's impressive.
So, were you just guaranteed the job since, your family pretty much named the university?
Man, honestly, it was, pretty just crazy, full circle in a lot of ways. Yeah, man. So Brigham Young is my fourth great uncle, right? So his brother
Yep.
was one of my grandpas. But yeah, man, cool stuff. Great community, family ties, deep. I didn't grow up in Utah, but having that deep history is definitely unique.
Yep. So you got a really unique background. You definitely have a long tenured history in the NBA. You came over to college. Last year was your first year with Brigham Young. Mark Pope took the job at Kentucky. You slid in, did a great job, 26-10, 14-6 in the conference, Sweet 16. Did you think it'd be such a maybe easy transition for you from the NBA to college in the first year coaching college?
We had a rocky go, to start it. There was a lot of learning curves for me. We got off to a 1-3, 2-4 start in the Big 12. Our non-conference schedule was a little light, so we kind of had a lot to learn as conference started. So, we hit that learning curve early in the Big 12, and then kind of caught a bit of a stride, and our guys really kind of figured out how we wanted to play against that level of competition. So. It was definitely a process. I was really happy that our group could, have some success, obviously, in our first year. But I think it was just a ton of learning. But at the end of the day, man, basketball is basketball. There are nuances, and of course, those are important. But, try to rely on the things that I believe in as a coach. And, like I said, our group bought into that.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: with the ever changing college basketball landscape, it's definitely more like the NBA than it was college 5, 6, 7 years ago, and you're obviously reaping the benefits. And not to take anything away from you and your staff, did you ever kind of want to get into college 5, 10, 15 years ago? You were potentially, if you stay in the NBA, a finalist for many, and eventually gain a head coaching job. Was there ever kind of a need to kind of dabble in college 5, 10 years ago?
No, and I would say even now, there was no like the NIL space wasn't like a driver behind my
Right.
decision to
Right.
come to college, right? Honestly, this thing was just a perfect storm in so many different ways. I won't bore you with all that, but it just
Right.
worked for my personal life, professional life, and so here we are though in the NIL world. I do think that the way things operate now are much more, especially now that I know a lot more about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have loved the quote unquote old way 5 or 10 years ago. I
Yeah.
think at BYU specifically, going to the Big 12 put this on a whole different stratosphere than it was before. That made it really intriguing. And like I
Mhm.
said, now that I am in this space operating with the NIL world, yeah, it is a lot of similarities to the NBA world, and so it's made the transition a lot smoother for me. But look, man, I'm barely a year in, and we're on like the fourth iteration of like the NIL rules. So this thing is crazy, man. Yeah,
Hey, just wait, coach. It just changed again.
yeah. It's just nuts, man. It changes every day. It feels like.
Yep, yep, yep. So take me how's the summer been going? I mean, you've obviously had some practices, I would think. What is the expectation? I mean, I know what it is in social media. I mean, you signed one, if not one of the two best players in the nation, and then, a whole bunch of other great players. Which is really nice. I guess what's the expectation this summer and then going into the fall before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, we're this summer the whole goal is to build team chemistry, get these guys to learn each other's games. Richie Saunders had an unbelievable year last year for us. Obviously, he's coming back. He's going to be tremendous. And then you pair him with AJ and Rob Wright, Kaba coming back. We have a lot of firepower that we brought in off the bench, and we're really happy with some of the guys we were able to get out of the portal. And so all that looks great, sounds great. How does it all come together, right? And that's really been the challenge and will be the challenge as we try to mold this group and try to live in a world that we're standing on the laurels that we believe in, but we're also trying to fine tune it to this specific group. And I think that for me as the coach, that's the challenge of how do you get the best from these individual talents, but then how do you kind of stand on what you believe in, right? And so
Yeah.
that's really been the goal this summer. It's been fun, man. It's been good. It's been long as well, and so that's a learning curve even for me in coming from the NBA. The NBA world is a little bit more relaxed in the summer. I feel like here you almost feel pressure to have like full on practices in the middle of July and August, which in my mind doesn't make a ton of sense. And so there's just a lot of stuff that I'm continuing to learn about, but on the big scale, big picture, that's been kind of the points of emphasis.
Yeah. So now that you kind of affected the scheduling, are you doing it any differently than you kind of fell into last year? I mean, have you changed anything? Just maybe your scheduling philosophy? I guess what can we expect differently, maybe from a scheduling standpoint this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're much more aggressive. Try to schedule a lot more quad one and some quad two games in our non-conference, more than we had last year. We're definitely going on the road a lot more as well. We're playing in some marquee venues, which I think will be great for our guys, and just doing it right out of the gate. We got Villanova to open up in Vegas, and it just kind of doesn't stop from there. So you just researching it more, getting to understand like how it all works a little bit more. We
Mhm.
feel like that'll give us a better chance. One, to be ready to go into Big 12 play a bit more prepared, and then two, when the dust settles and we're looking at the seeding and so forth, we're hoping that that allows us to jump up the seed line best we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there one arena you kind of in awe of last year coaching for the first time as a head coach in that college basketball arena? Was there one that just kind of pops out?
Um, Yeah, Iowa State. I mean, one, I'm a old soul, so I love old school things. They got the wooden ceiling in there, like it's very just cool, honestly. So like visually, I was into it, and then that game was incredible. It was a double overtime road win for us, so it was just a great basketball game. Grateful that we could get the win. But I mean, I've been in the NBA Finals, man. I've been in Golden State, Milwaukee in the final, you name it, and it's that arena was as loud of arena as I've ever been in. It was really impressive. That one definitely stood out.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. You said they have a wooden ceiling. I'm surprised their insurance would cover them because of that due to fires or stuff like that.
You definitely a head scratcher, but it definitely made it look cool.
Just imagine. I can only imagine what you're thinking. Like, what is this clown asking me? But so take me back to the process. Okay, you're an associate head coach with the Phoenix Suns. You get the call. I take it you get the call from Brigham Young. How does that work? Just because of your family bloodlines with the university?
Um, yeah, honestly, man, it was that's more of a coincidence than anything. I mean, I think, I grew up a member of our church, Church of Jesus Christ of
Mhm.
Latter-day Saints. That's obviously, a huge draw for the school and for me, to come here and coach. And then the bloodline portion of it is like I said, it's more of a cool story, coincidence, and less of a like, oh, this guy has like a deep tie to Brigham Young somehow. Let's go get him to be the coach. It just I think it's more of a cool trivia question than anything else.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that your last name is in the middle part of that shirt right there. I mean, did you grow up a BYU fan?
It's funny, man. Like, so my parents are really from Northern California. My mom lived in Provo, Orem till she was about 10. Her dad
Mhm.
went to BYU. But then from there, man, like I didn't grow up in the West. We lived in Texas and Atlanta is where I really grew up. And so I always like I would say generally followed BYU sports, but was never like a diehard fan. Um, you know, I didn't go here. I played Division II basketball in Atlanta. I had
Clayton State,
brothers.
baby.
Yeah, there you go, Mass, doing more of your research. But yeah, I was always like just a casual follower of it. But I moved out here when I graduated college. So it would have been like 2006 area where I lived in this community as a coach for another program, and then ended up being here for 4 years as a G League assistant and then head coach. And so, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah,
It allowed me to understand like just how deep, the connections were, with the community and BYU, and that left an impression on me as I went on to the NBA. Never thought I'd come back to be the head coach at BYU, but like I said, things just really worked out.
yeah, yeah. How different is the pro game to the college game nowadays?
The game itself, yeah, it's pretty different. I think the NBA for probably most of my time in there, excuse me,
Yep.
was a lot more. Um, it was actually smaller. You rarely played two bigs. I think now you're starting to see that more and more in the NBA. I think the two are starting to get a little bit more similar. It's being the NBA, they're allowing it to be a bit more physical. I think college is still way more physical than the NBA. They don't call nearly as many fouls, particularly on the ball with hand checking and so forth. So, that's different. Obviously, the halves versus the quarters is different. The end of the
Yeah,
games are wildly different. A lot of the rules are different. So that stuff definitely took some time for me to learn, and then just the daily life as a coach in the NBA versus college is the most. That's where the
yeah,
biggest differences lie.
yeah,
Just the amount
yeah,
of practice, the recruiting, all the things like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I find the biggest difference I see in the NBA and colleges, they take more threes in the NBA. I feel like there's more layups in college. That's just from a casual fan of the NBA. I'm so enthralled with college basketball. I mean, you've got the best players in the world, but I don't need to see the New York Knicks throw up 3,000 3-pointers in a game. Um,
Y-
but no, here nor there. So your recruiting class, what you and your staff have done is pretty remarkable. I mean, how excited are you for these guys, especially like an AJ or like a Rob Wright? I mean, what can people expect from these guys?
Well, number one, obviously their talent, speaks for itself, but they're both, great guys. Both come from great families. And so they really fit, just kind of the culture that was already here before I got here, and we've tried to amplify it, just a family atmosphere and that kind of thing. So just they fit in. Number one, number two,
Mhm.
um, they're both extremely competitive. Rob's always been on good teams his whole life. AJ's the guy that is as dialed in as a player I've ever coached to this point. He's extremely competitive, wants to be great, and so at the same time they're both young. They're young guys, so they'll
Mhm.
they'll have some learning curves, especially as they learn kind of how we want to do things. But I
Yep.
think more than anything, man, just the word excitement. That's what comes to mind. I feel it when I'm in the community, fans talking. People are just very excited about BYU basketball. Very excited about seeing those two guys along with Richie and Cabe and the other guys I mentioned in the Marriott Center and in a lot of these marquee games that we're going to be playing on the road. So I just think excitement is really what comes to mind.
Yep, yep. I mean, I'm excited, as you can see. I mean, we've got you on. We're really excited that you joined us. But so we do a thing called the shot clock. It's going to be a little bit different just because you don't have the long lineage of college coaching. But we're going to tweak it a little bit. Sam usually introduced it. Just one word answers. If there's a story, just go with it. But it's really kind of quick and painless. So here we go. All right. First question. One word to describe BYU.
Passion.
Okay. Okay. I believe that. I believe that. What would your spirit animal be? If you were an animal, what animal best exemplifies Kevin Young?
Ooh, tiger.
Because you're
Just
going to hear me roar.
just fierce, dude. Tigers are fierce, man. Come on.
Oh, gosh. Who would you say, and now let's go to the pro leagues. Which player would you say talks the most trash?
Draymond Green. Yeah. We've played them a ton when I was with the Suns. Yeah, I think it drives his competitive nature. He's just
Yeah.
he's one of the most competitive guys in the NBA, and he's one of
Yeah.
those guys where you play against him, you hate him, but if he's on your team, you probably love him. That's kind of how he is.
Probably. You're assuming that. I mean, he's been there for a long time. What was the college team you cheered for and your favorite college player growing up?
Mm. This is a random one, but I actually was a big fan of Dan Dickow, who was like not that much older than
Oh, Gonzaga, baby.
yeah, who wasn't that much older than me, but I loved the way he played. I loved the run Gonzaga had. They were always kind of the underdog that seemed to come out on top, and yeah, I enjoyed following that era.
Okay. Okay. Two more questions. Who is your biggest coaching influence?
The person that made me want to get into coaching was my high school coach, Roger Quam. That's my guy, man. I talk to him all the time, still to this day. As it relates to, I think, more basketball philosophy and systematic things and leadership, Brett Brown, who was the head coach of the Sixers, he was on Pop staff with the Spurs last year. Yeah, he's had a major influence on my life in general, but certainly as a coach and as a leader.
Okay, cool. I like that. I like that. All right, so last question. Okay, so they're making a Hollywood movie about your life. Okay. What would the title of
Mm,
the movie be? Who would play you and what would be the theme
wow.
song?
Wow, that's a deep question right there. So the two things my world revolve around is being a dad and being a coach. So it would be some play on, Coach Dad. That actually works as the title, right? And then yeah, the theme song. Oh man,
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
hard. I'm a big music guy. I have a pretty diverse palette when it comes to music. Uh, mainly because it's just on my mind because
Okay.
I listened to it this morning on my workout. I'd have to throw in some Rage Against the Machine somewhere in there. I don't know exactly what song we're gonna go with, but
Oh,
they got a deep catalog. Um, so
okay.
that's yeah, man. That's so far. That'd be a heck of a directing job when you're trying to pull all that stuff together and make it make sense. Oh, let me
And
think
who would you
about
want
that
to
one.
play you?
Yeah,
So the number one I would say is Denzel
I mean,
Washington, but I just don't see a resemblance.
I gotta go
We've
Leo. Leo's got the
we've had
swag,
Matthew
he's
McConaughey,
got the
we've had
cachet,
Steve Carell.
he's a good looking dude, he can make me look good. Yeah,
Oh,
hey
okay.
man, that's why they get paid the big bucks. They
Okay.
can get out
I
of in and
like
out of
that.
character
I
however
don't
they
know
need
how
to.
I'd see him acting as you on the sidelines though. I know. I know, I know. I feel you. I feel you. All right, last question I got for you, coach. This is what Sam usually finishes up. So I just want you to kind of tell Cougars fans, BYU faithful, college basketball in general, the
Yeah,
alumni of
some of this stuff
BYU.
sounds
You know,
super
what can you
coachy and
expect?
cliche,
What can
but
they
for me,
expect
I
from you
think
and your
what
team this
people
year?
can expect is
In
good stuff.
during the season,
Really
and
just
then
get better every
making a
day.
little
That
noise
was
in the
the
NCAA
recipe
tournament.
last year. That's been the recipe my whole coaching career. Just attacking every day, trying to just win that day, then move to the next one. But we really try to hang our hat on playing as a team, man. Sharing the basketball, playing with great spacing. I think that was a hallmark of our team last year. And like I said earlier, the
Yeah.
challenge is how do you get new players to buy into that. Especially when the talent's a little bit more and get that ball to continue to move right. And so, that's my hope. Obviously, of course, you want to play hard, you want to compete, but I think the hallmark of the team is what my hope is, that people know that we space and we share the ball with each other.
Yep. 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 Well, Coach, you're going to stick with us for one more second as we upload. Hey, thanks, Coach, for joining us on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show. Check out BYU. I mean, they're going to be fun. We've seen some different stuff on social media, the predictions. It's going to be a fun brand of basketball as Coach Young kind of shapes his college basketball legacy. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you can. We'll be back next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.